Boruto's revival doesn't make sense. Hear me out. Now, I know a lot of people have accepted the explanation given by the Boruto writers and have since moved on, and I will do the same once I've made this video because I need to make this video. And of course you guys don't have to agree, but if you do, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now let's get into the video. Before we get into the events of chapter 67, I want to first establish a basis by referencing Amado's explanation of Boruto's situation in chapter 46. Amado explained that during the battle, Momoshiki Otsutsuki converted himself into data, replicated himself, and implanted that data into Boruto's body in the form of karma. The compressed file slowly extracts over time. That is going on even this very minute, and when all of that data is fully extracted, Boruto's body will be overwritten by Momoshiki's data and Boruto himself will completely cease to exist. Do you understand? In short, karma is a highly compressed Otsutsuki backup file. So what Amado explained here is that Momoshiki's data was compressed into the karma and implanted into Boruto's body. Now the key word there is Momoshiki. Now it didn't say Otsutsuki data as in regular Otsutsuki data was compressed. It specifically says Momoshiki's data was compressed and implanted into Boruto's body. So I just wanted to get that in there so you guys understand the basis or the foundation for my argument going forward. Now if we fast forward to chapter 67 where Momoshiki used the karma to revive Boruto, Momoshiki said that the loss of my vessel will result in my soul's instant extinguishment, just like in Ishiki's case. In addition to being a receptacle for one's soul, a vessel also serves as its anchor to the world of the living. You are my sole priceless vessel. I can't afford to lose you for my own sake. So Momoshiki is basically explaining why he can't afford to let Boruto die. He needs him in order to survive. He then explained that a part of your heart and lungs were destroyed and you lost a large amount of blood. You would have died, of course, had I not interfered. I resuscitated you using part of the karma. Then he shows an image of the karma basically filling the hole in Boruto's chest, signifying what Momoshiki is basically explaining to the audience. And this is where it starts to get weird. Momoshiki then says, as you know, your karma contains all of me in data form compressed. So he basically confirmed what Amado said earlier. The karma is a compressed Otsutsuki backup file, specifically for Momoshiki Otsutsuki. He then says about 82% had already been extracted and diffused into your body. My resurrection would finally become possible once the remaining 18% finished extracting, but regrettably not if my vessel itself were to get destroyed beforehand. So he basically confirmed that Boruto was already 82% Momoshiki Otsutsuki, as in Boruto's DNA was transformed into Momoshiki's DNA, and Boruto was only 18% himself at this point in time. So I had no choice but to rewrite that last 18% into your data, keyword there being your, as highlighted in the chapter, so that the cells and tissues you lost could be fabricated anew. Boruto then says, in short, you used parts that were meant for your body to revive me. Momoshiki then replied saying precisely, unfortunately you taking away 18% of my data has made it impossible for me to resurrect, because of course Momoshiki needs to be at 100% Momoshiki in order to resurrect. Rewritten or not, it started off as Otsutsuki data originally, so there's no change in the fact that all 100% of Otsutsuki data has finished extracting, which means that you are now a pure, genuine, complete Otsutsuki. Now, to understand why this doesn't make sense, we first need to understand what the karma is, as I explained earlier. The karma is a backup file for an Otsutsuki. It's not just random Otsutsuki data, it's a specific Otsutsuki that is within that karma. So it's not just regular Otsutsuki data that is being extracted into Boruto, it's specifically Momoshiki Otsutsuki's data. Now, tell me if I'm tripping, but if only 82% of Momoshiki's data was decompressed from the karma, what data did Momoshiki transmute into Boruto's data? Because Momoshiki said that he had to rewrite the last 18% into your data, referring to Boruto. Now it couldn't be the 18% that's already in Boruto, because that's already Boruto's data, so he has to be referring to the data within the karma. He changed the data within the karma into Boruto's data and implanted it into Boruto and used it to heal him. Now my question is, how does Momoshiki has access to the other 18% within the karma to change it into Boruto's data and implant it into Boruto if the karma is only 82% complete? Now, if you think he's not referring to the data within the karma, this is confirmed by Boruto. He said that you used the parts that were meant for your body to revive me. So obviously he's referring to Momoshiki's other 18%, which would make up Momoshiki's full 100%, which would complete Momoshiki's resurrection and turn Boruto into Momoshiki. That way Boruto would cease to exist. And Momoshiki confirmed this by saying precisely. But that shouldn't make sense, and that should not be possible, because if that was possible, then Momoshiki would be an idiot to resurrect Boruto now if he could have just manually resurrected himself before. Because if he's able to access the remaining 18% of his data that's in the karma, he should have been able to do that before and use it to resurrect himself. But to our understanding, based on what Amado explained, the karma is a automatic process. It's not something the Otsutsuki can control, so they have to wait until the data is decompressed into the host before the resurrection can come to fruition. If the Otsutsuki could manually access the data in the karma and use it whenever they feel like and decompress that data whenever they feel like, then they could resurrect immediately without going through the slow karmification process. So Momoshiki now all of a sudden being able to access the other 18% of data that hasn't been decompressed in Boruto's body as yet doesn't make sense, because if he was able to do that all along, then he could have resurrected himself. He could have completed the Otsutsukification process manually. He then says, rewritten or not, it started off as Otsutsuki data originally, so there's no change in the fact that all 100% of the Otsutsuki data has finished extracting. You are now 100% pure Otsutsuki. Now that doesn't make sense, and I'm sure you guys understand why. If we say fine, if we go ahead with the explanation they gave and Momoshiki is able to access the data remaining in the karma and can use it to resurrect Boruto, it doesn't make sense that Boruto is 100% pure Otsutsuki. That doesn't make sense, because by virtue of taking your data and converting it as he used in the chapter to Boruto's data and using it to heal Boruto, that data is no longer your data, it's no longer Otsutsuki data. You're transmuting that data into Boruto's DNA. That's what you said. So how can you then say that it's the same DNA as it was before, even though it's something different? And if it's not something different, if it's still your data, then you're basically completing the Otsutsukification process if it's still Momoshiki Otsutsuki's data that's being extracted into Boruto. And I'm referring to the 18%. Now, if it's not Momoshiki's data, then it's now Boruto's data. It can't be both at the same time, and even then, if it's both, then Boruto can't be a pure Otsutsuki. By definition, the meaning of pure is not mixed or adulterated with any other substance or material. So if you're saying Momoshiki now has the power to transmute his data into another person's data or another species' data, then he's using that data to heal Boruto. By definition, Boruto is not a pure Otsutsuki because he's mixed with two different strains of DNA. One being Momoshiki Otsutsuki's DNA and the other being his human DNA. So 1. Why was Momoshiki able to extract the data or forcefully decompress the remaining 18% of Otsutsuki data or his data within the karma to heal Boruto? And if he's able to do that, why didn't he do it before to resurrect himself? And why didn't Ishiki Otsutsuki do the same thing? And some people have theorized that, oh, it's not his data, it's just regular Otsutsuki data that's in the karma. That's what he used to resurrect Boruto or to heal Boruto, so that wouldn't complete his Otsutsukification process. But that doesn't make sense, because there's no Otsutsuki data, there's no human data, there's no Namekian data, there's Piccolo data, there's Kidomaki data, there's your data, there's his data, you have Ishiki Otsutsuki data, you have Momoshiki Otsutsuki data, you have Hashirama cells, but there are no generic cells that are just cells. They come from someone, they come from something. So there's no Otsutsuki DNA, it's either Momoshiki, it has to be tied to an Otsutsuki. So the Otsutsuki data that was extracted into Boruto and the Otsutsuki data that's within the karma, it's Momoshiki's data, it's Momoshiki's backup file in the form of karma, as explained by Amado and Momoshiki himself. Now, if you want to say that Otsutsukis have the ability to access the data in the karma and to extract the data and to forcefully remove it from the karma itself and transmute it into alien DNA and use it to heal their host or whatever, fine. He can't use it in the resurrection process, but he can use it to heal his host. Okay, fine. But still, even if you want to say that, Boruto is still not 100% pure Otsutsuki if Momoshiki is changing the data into Boruto's data. So those are just my thoughts on it. It just doesn't make sense to me overall, the entire process itself. It could have made sense if they put more thought into it, and I could be wrong. You guys could explain it in another way, fine. Just make it make sense, because I know you guys will. Well, explain it. I don't know if it will make sense, but yeah, you guys can let me know what are your thoughts on it, and I'll think about it. But basically, that's it for this video. If you guys want to see more Boruto, then make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. So far as I see it, it doesn't make sense, and they could have done way better. And it didn't need to be this complicated. You know, it could have been something very simple. They had many routes, and it chose something that was so complex and complicated that it could have been misconstrued or some shit like that. I don't know, bro, but it just doesn't make sense to me, and those are just my thoughts. But regardless, we're here to have fun, and that's all we need to do. No need to get serious, guys. It ain't that serious. So if you guys like the video, drop a like. If you're new to the channel, hit subscribe, and drop a comment. Let me know what you think. I said that before, but I'll say it again. Drop your comment. Let me know what you think about it, and just your thoughts on the chapter in general, because I didn't do a chapter review because I don't typically do those. I normally do review videos in the sense that I pick certain topics from the chapter and I go over them individually, like what I'm doing right now. I don't typically do chapter reviews in general, but I do them sometimes, rarely, but yeah, it does happen. But yeah, if you like the video, drop a like. If you're new, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.